To the biggest news of the NFL yesterday. It was breaking literally as we were signing off yesterday morning. The Browns naming Deshaun Watson as their starting quarterback for Week 1, which will be on the road in Jacksonville. Here's their head coach, Todd Monken, with more on his decision.
Felt like to start the season on the road, Deshaun gave us the best chance to move the ball and score points. I know what we think and what we see every day and on our building and our players and the momentum we have, and we're 100% behind Deshaun.
All right, so everyone is dying to jump in on this, and I will let everyone at it in a moment. But there's one other thing I want to make sure that people watching are aware of, because maybe you're not following everything moment by moment. After a tough performance on Saturday night, in which Deshaun Watson was booed loudly at home, he was asked about it and offered some comments that sounded like they were really attacking towards the Cleveland fans, calling the crowd's reaction disrespectful. So you need to hear that yesterday he offered an apology to them.
My emotions got the best of me. And, my comments wasn't intending to go at any of the fans around in the city. I understand the frustration. I understand everything that kind of goes into that. And moving forward, I just want to focus on football.
Okay, so he sort of tried to make that one right, and then the coach made his decision. Did he get that one right? Domonique?
It still doesn't make sense. I've been trying to bounce it around in my brain to figure out the strategy. It was clear that he said on the road. You heard Monken say on the road. That to me jumped out, where it's the veteran experience or whatever, that helps. And it seemed like Graz brought this up yesterday, that they start with 2 road games.
Correct.
There might be a different situation when they bring them back home, because that's the real concern. The thing that's shocking to me, though, is the only time when naming your starter is a big deal and it gets a lot of attention is right now. This would be the only time in the season where you would be kind of conscious and aware of how people would receive this and react to it. They clearly have demonstrated that they don't care. They don't care. They're going to start who they want to start, is Deshaun Watson. If he plays really well in both of these games, then he comes back home, the fans will cheer him. If he plays poorly in these 2 games, when he comes back home, he'll probably be on the bench, and they'll run Deshaun Watson.
I've done the same thing.
Shedeur out there.
Yeah, Shedeur. I've done the same thing, which I've gone back and forth. So originally, my whole take on the whole competition, because a lot of people have said it should be Shedeur no matter what, just to look at the future. Make it a competition. So you go back out of the spring, everyone said Deshaun Watson was leading this thing. He started in the first preseason game. Aside from the press conference, I don't know if we would have been so surprised.
Right.
Looking at it from watching the preseason games, I always thought if it was close, you go with Shedeur Sanders because he's younger and the upside in which he still has. So that's why I'm puzzled with it. The way Deshaun Watson played in that second preseason game, to name him the starter coming off of that was very alarming. But at the same time, we don't get a chance to see all the joint practices and training camp practices. Right. Maybe he was leading by that much over Shedeur Sanders. I fully expect Shedeur to be the starter Week 3 when they play Carolina at home.
Dan Graziano, get in here.
Yeah, I think I do believe we'll see Shedeur Sanders at some point this year. I mean, the likelihood of Deshaun Watson playing well, for the first time in 6 years and holding the job all year on a Cleveland team we don't expect to win too many games is very low. So they have to figure out what they have in terms of the future. They have 2 first-round picks in next year's draft, where we're told there are a lot of very good quarterbacks. So Brown's thinking ahead, but in the meantime, I believe the front office and ownership felt like, hey, we should try and get something out of this contract before it's over. And Todd Monken, a first-time head coach who waited a very long time to get the job, is interested in winning some games. He's not, his mind is not on rebuild for the future, even if that's what's going to happen eventually. So they looked at it, and based on the veteran experience, a little bit more mobility. Deshaun Watson offered some things that Shedeur Sanders at this point in his career doesn't, and that's the way they've decided to go. We'll see how long it lasts.
It's funny to hear you say that they want to get something out of this contract, which I guess makes sense. But so far, what they've gotten out of this contract is a lot of bad headlines and judgment in us and them further cementing this trope of them as this silly organization, which actually they draft really well. They built a really good roster. They made this really awful trade and decision, and that's been mired a lot of the years since. And now, you have an opportunity to feel like you have a fresh start. You can dump all this on that decision and move on. And rather than doing that, they remind us that, you know what? Even though we make a lot of really good choices, this is who we are, baby. This is who we are. We're going to end it by making it another, questionable choice.
At the same time, Monken also mentioned, the long game for Shedeur Sanders as a quarterback in this league. Potentially, maybe they looked at this situation and said, all right, we have a quarterback only in his second year, still learning how to play the position, operate before the snap, all of the intricacies that goes into playing quarterback. What if we try to protect him and help him, let Deshaun Watson, the veteran, start the 2 games on the road, see how that goes, see how our young wide receivers do in their first NFL games in KC Concepcion and Denzel Boston, and then if it doesn't go well, we insert Shedeur and we give him a better runway to have a good season and to build for his future. That, for me, is the sane way to look at it. Are they doing that? I don't know.
The only other thing that I would throw in there to, maybe shoot the Browns a little bit of reprieve is we aren't there.
Yes.
And there are things that you're willing to take the slings and arrows from the media if in the building you feel some vibe that you know that this is how your team will respond best.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not in that locker room.
Which is hard to believe going off the pass.
It's so hard to believe, but I try my best. I do this on my show a lot when somebody does something dumb, I'm like, these people aren't dumb.
Right.
So how would a smart person arrive at this decision? And that's what I come as I'd be willing as a leader of this team to take all this bad press if I knew that my locker room believed that I'm making the right decision.
I actually think that I'm willing to take the coach at his word.
Right.
He thinks right this minute Deshaun Watson is going to play better than Shedeur Sanders. The reason I believe it is because there's no conceivable other reason to do it. And I also agree with Graziano. An NFL season is a lifetime. Right. There's so much time between now and when this season ends. There'll be plenty of time for Shedeur Sanders to get on the field and be as good or as bad as he's going to be. And Dan, maybe most importantly, they have those 2 first-round picks in next year's draft. And while they're not thinking that way yet, some people in that building probably already are. Go ahead, Dan.
Well, even if they are thinking that way, Greeny, and even if they do eventually take a look at Shedeur, it's easy for us to sit on the outside and say, oh, well, they're not going to be any good. Might as well find out if Shedeur has something.
Right.
But they have a pretty good roster, to Neek's earlier point. On the defensive side of the ball, even after the Myles Garrett trade, a lot of very good players. They're very excited about their young players on offense, Quinshawn Judkins, Harold Fannin, the tight end, and then the rookie receivers they drafted this year. So even looking ahead to 2027, you want your organization to be one that is set up to help a rookie quarterback thrive, if that's the way you're going to go. And coming off of a throw in the towel season, I don't believe that's necessarily going to be what they come up with. So the Browns are trying to win games. Given what they have in the quarterback room, they have decided this is the way to go. We'll find out.
The most famously terrible transaction in the history of American sports were the Boston Red Sox trading Babe Ruth to the New York Yankees for the rights to a Broadway show called No No Nanette. I don't know. That's not a made-up story. That's actually what happened.
That's true.
I don't know if this supersedes that, but if it's not, it's close.
A lot more money.
Deshaun Watson is going to have to play really well this year for this not to be the worst trade in the history of football.
At least the Texans didn't go on to build a dynasty. That would have made it really bad if they're watching the Texans just win Super Bowl after Super Bowl.
Was it a good play?
Could the Texans wind up in the Super Bowl this year?
Yeah,
they absolutely could wind up in the Super Bowl this year.
No, no, net though. That thing must be good.
We got plans for
I'll take you. They're doing a